have to work on that. Let's see here. What happens if I turn this light on? How's that look? Anything? Make it worse? Make it better? Sorry, this is my first time doing a live here. Hello, you're from Cuba. Cool. All right, let's start with the post. Someone is making a crying face because they're laughing hysterically. Cholito says you're good, no worries. Thanks, dude. All right, so here we go. I really need to work on this lighting situation here. We'll do that another time. So, by the way, welcome to my new house. I moved in like Friday. So this is the first time I've been doing a live in this position or in this room. So again, I'm trying to figure out the lighting still, and this is gonna be very dull, it looks like. So I'm gonna have to get a light and put it right there for the future. All right, but let's talk about shoulders. So YouTube, I'm on YouTube and I'm on Instagram. So guys, I will be reading these comments and I'll be kind of responding to them if they're relevant or if you have questions about shoulders. So here's the big thing you need to know about shoulders, and this is what I think everybody gets wrong when it comes to shoulder health, especially if you're trying to fix it with doing pushing or yoga exercises. So can yoga help with strengthening your shoulders? The answer is yes, but only if you combine it with pulling exercises and in particular with scapular stability exercises. Basically, the ability of your shoulder, I'm going to show you this. So the ability of your shoulder to function depends on you being able to pull your shoulder down and back and use these muscles around your shoulder blades, okay? So you have to be able to have strength in here and around here, and the lighting's awful, but that's what we have. So anyways, here, this and this is the most important part of your shoulders, this area, okay? It's not so much about here. Most people are able to activate muscles here. They have no issues with that. The problem is when they try to lift overhead or do pushing, and they don't have the assistance of these muscles in the back. So when it comes to shoulder health, again, it's partly mobility in your shoulder. So it's the ability to move your arms, right, around. But mobility also refers not just to passive flexibility, but it refers to motor control. It refers to the ability to use your muscles. And so what happens is most of us spend our days at the computer, right, like this, or hunched over our phone, and we bring the shoulders in this position like this, right? So then we go to exercise and we're doing stuff like this. We're doing things like this because our shoulders are still in this rounded position. Or we're doing shoulder strengthening like this. And what we need to do is get the shoulder from here down and back, right? And then being able to, this is my shoulder blade here. Again, lighting isn't great, but you need to be able to pull that shoulder blade in to your back, okay? So moving from out here, kind of winging, what's called winging the scapula, and then bringing it into your back here. So it's the ability to use the scapular stabilizers, mainly your rhomboids and your lower traps, to get your shoulders in the right position so that when you do things like overhead pressing, when you do a down dog, when you do a handstand, when you do crow pose, you're not in this position with your shoulders. And so I've worked with quite a few people, both in my personal online personal training program, and also with some of the people that I've worked in person. I don't do that much anymore, but it really comes down. I've worked with quite a few people, and I've given them similar exercises. One guy in particular, his name is Firas. He lives in Kuwait. And we worked together to fix his chronic shoulder pain. And then someone else asked me, someone else did one of my programs, which is called Start Smart, which is kind of a program that I give people exercising kind of program to get started with. And her name is Elizabetta. And she had more success with the exercises that I gave her than she did with her physical therapist. And these were similar exercises that I was giving to both of these people. So what it comes down to is, again, Part of it is mobility, but mobility is not just passive flexibility. It's also the ability to control muscles. And it's getting your shoulders into the right position, down and back, and having that strength in your upper back. So what I did for these people is I combined pulling exercises, we combined yoga and bodyweight exercises, and we also threw in a lot of mobility exercises in terms of body weight, designed to improve active range of motion and also build strength, but also things like lacrosse balls and foam rollers, and other mobility tools like that to kind of to break up soft tissue and allow us to use that muscle. One of the big problems with shoulder mobility is if you want to think about your shoulder muscles, let's just think of your muscles as knots for a minute. Let's assume, this is a very crude analogy, but let's assume should be able to lengthen this much. And because of your inactivity and because of you sitting at a desk, we're more in this range here. Like it's just not as long as it should be. So in order to get those longer, yes, stretching is part of it, but the other part of that is using mobility tools like lacrosse balls and knot outs and foam rollers to lengthen those muscles, so that instead of having our chest tight like this, right, and tightness here, we open those and we stretch. So part of that is strength. The other part of that is strengthening the opposing muscle group. So if you want to, so let's say, if, for example, if you have a really tight chest, right? This is what I used to have when I was younger. I did tons of bench press and I had this really tight chest. And this is how I looked when I walked. And I was like, yeah, I'm so jacked, looks so good. But then I was like, oh, wait, that's actually not how my shoulders are supposed to be. So I had to work on pulling my shoulders down and back and opening up my chest. But in order to fix that, it wasn't just stretching. It was also strengthening. So to open your chest here, we can work on passive stretching to open it up. And that's just going to stretch this side of the body. But we can also work on active strengthening for the opposing muscle groups, right? The pulling muscles in the back. So by doing a, just basic like this, just doing a horizontal row or doing a vertical pull down for a lat pull down, you're going to open your chest, right? So that's a combination of strengthening and stretching. So strengthening the back to stretch the front. And so that's what people need to do when it comes to strengthening shoulders. A lot of people have issues due to lack of shoulder flexibility, but that's only, again, part of it. The other part of that is making sure that you have a strong back. And so I put all this together. It took me a really long time because I wanted to get it right. But eventually I sat down, I said, look, I've got to get these exercises together. I've got to put these into a program. I know that I can help people with this. People are waiting on it. I know that there are tons of people in the members area who are waiting for this program. So I put it together. I made it as simple as I could. I put the best exercises, only the ones that I've personally used and vetted. I'm not putting other random exercises in here that I don't personally use, that I have not recommended to people. Put that into a system of 5 workouts, 5 total workouts that you can repeat for a minimum of 8 weeks. And Bulletproof Your Shoulders was born. So that is the Bulletproof Your Shoulders program. It is now live in the Manflow Yoga members area, only in the Manflow Yoga members area. And the reason for that is because it's difficult for us to create a whole new product that's only an individual program. It's much easier for us to create a program and upload it to the existing members area. And so that's where it is now. I don't have any plans to sell Bulletproof Your Shoulders as an individual program. So the only way to get it is in the members area, but it's the same cost. It's a lot cheaper than the cost of going to a gym for the month. It's less than the cost of a single yoga class in some cities. It's as low as $14 a month, or maybe even $13 if you sign up for the year. So the members area just opened for enrollment. Bulletproof Your Shoulders is in there. You get access to each of these workouts as well as the tutorials. So what's cool about this program is instead of just creating 5 workouts, I also created 5 corresponding tutorials for each of the workouts. So you can start by going through the tutorial, watch that 1 to 3 times, and then you can move on to the, and then from there you can move on to the actual workout or the flow. I think what's really cool about this program is it is minimal time. So a lot of programs, I think you have to do, 45, 60 minutes. I've trimmed this down to where you can spend 20 to 30 minutes on your shoulders and you can reasonably expect to feel better within your first week. And I think within, again, this hasn't been tested yet because I just launched this program, but I have used this program with other people in the past, and usually it takes 1 month to notice really significant results, and within 2 or 3 months, your shoulders are completely different. You won't even recognize them because you're not having that pain anymore. So if you currently have kind of nagging, aching pains in your shoulders, something that isn't enough to prevent you from working out, but something that, the day after you do some pushing exercises, it hurts you to do this motion. So if you have this motion, when you lift your arm overhead, you can think of putting your arm in a jacket. That means that you have that might mean that you have some rotator cuff issues. And this program is really going to help with rotator cuff issues. That's just one thing that's going to help with. If you have excessive tightness or chronic tightness in your chest and your shoulders, this is going to help with that. If you have poor posture in your shoulders, if you spend a lot of time, as we discussed before, kind of sitting at the desk in this position, and you notice that you have poor strength overhead, or you want to get deeper into down dogs, you want to get deeper into dolphins, or you want to work on your handstands, this is going to help you build the strength for that. So yeah, this is Bulletproof Your Shoulders. I'm really excited for this one. I think it's something that so many people need, especially guys, because we tend to use our upper bodies more than women. Women tend to be focused in the hips and the core. Guys, we tend to use the upper body. So men will have tighter shoulders, will have more issues with their shoulders as a result of that. So again, this program is really going to help with, and I already know it helps because we've used it on multiple people already, and we've had similar results on all of them. One of the persons I mentioned had chronic shoulder pain, who wasn't, and he was trying to lift weights and be consistent with that. And I cautioned him. I was like, look, let's take a break on the weights. Let's work on building your upper back strength. Let's work on your shoulder mobility, and then you can come back to it. So for a month, all I had him doing was these exercises. And after a month of doing those and abstaining from the weights, he went back to the weights. He incorporated what he learned in terms of his technique, in terms of incorporating that newfound mobility and that muscle engagement. And he was able to lift without pain. All right. So this is what this is going to help do. If you have pain when you're doing overhead motions, if you have pain when you're doing pushing exercises, this is going to help you build the opposing muscle groups, which you need in order to in order to prevent pain when you're working out. And again, it really comes down to whether you have any sort of shoulder issues. For the most part, they do come down to a lack of upper back strength and a lack of shoulder mobility. So the muscles connecting to the shoulder. So it's chest, it's traps related, it's rhomboids, lower traps. So it's basically everything from here, upper arms, can even be in the biceps and the triceps, the lats. So everything around here, right? Everything around the neck, the chest, the shoulders that connects there is something that you need to address, not just strength, but also the mobility. Really going to help with that. So we just opened for enrollment today. We've actually been closed for like the last 6 weeks or so. So today you can actually join the members area. It's at manfulyoga.com. So you can check that out at, again, manfulyoga.com. And we just opened for enrollment. We were closed for a few weeks. We were doing the Manful Yoga Guy Yoga Challenge. And now we're open back up. So I encourage you to check that out, especially if you want to get access to Bulletproof Your Shoulders. That's not going to be anywhere else. Questions? Do you lift weights as well as do yoga? Yes. And let me go on my little yoga weightlifting rant here. So if you want to build muscle more quickly, you need to lift weights. There's no reason not to lift weights. The only reason not to lift weights is if you have poor technique or if you lack the mobility to weight train. So this is where yoga comes in. Yoga for me serves as like the foundation or the lowest level of the pyramid of my fitness. It helps me with having the necessary amount of flexibility and mobility to do these exercises that help to build even more muscle. So yoga can help you build muscle, but you're not going to get super jacked from yoga. You're not going to add on significant muscle mass. And the people who can do that, they are probably probably mesomorphs in terms of they can add on a ton of muscle without a ton of effort. So if you can build muscle easily, then you might be able to build a significant amount of muscle with yoga. But if you've been struggling to put on muscle mass and you've been doing yoga for a long time, yoga is probably not going to build muscle. And also, there is this distinction between what I do with manful yoga and what you'll do in other types of yoga. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my YouTube channel, try any of the workouts, and you'll see what I mean. People tell me this all the time, that this is yoga like they've never seen it, like it's yoga like they've never done before, because of the in-depth focus that we place on technique, telling you what you should be feeling, what muscles you should be activating, what not to do, what you should feel, what you should not feel. You're getting a much more effective workout as a result. We're doing the workouts in a different way. It's not just repetitive flows. We're not doing down dogs and up dogs and then sun salutations over and over again. We're actually doing a lot of variety. We're doing different transitions. We're holding the poses for longer. We're working more on building motor control. So this is not typical yoga, and the workouts that you'll see on our website and on the YouTube channel and wherever you'll see this is not typical workouts. So I will say that. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of Bulletproof your shoulders. Again, the link is live. If you're watching this on Instagram, go to the link in my bio to learn more about the members area. We just went live today. It's been what am I saying? Sorry. Oh yeah, it's been closed for over a month now. So we are, yeah, I'm really excited it's back open. You guys can get back in there and start using the workouts. It's a really awesome community. It's not just workouts. There's a community behind it. It's really inspiring to see people talk about, so we just had a few, I'm going to go look through these posts today, but we just had a few people commenting today about how they, about the changes they've seen as a result of just doing 1 month of Manful Yoga's Guy Yoga program. So we had one guy, let's see here. It was a really great comment. Okay, I've been practicing yoga for 10 years. This is the first time I've committed to a daily practice. Not only that, but Dean is the first instructor who actually explains what to do, how to do it safely, which muscle to engage, and why it's beneficial. So anyways, that's just one comment. And that's pretty much what we hear. It's that people are getting stronger and they're actually learning yoga as opposed to following along through routine and not really know what's going on and not knowing what they're supposed to do in the routine. So it's extremely detailed, extremely technique-focused yoga, and people really do notice a difference. So if you haven't done a workout yet, go to my YouTube channel, check out some of the workouts there. You'll see the difference. More, we've got structured workouts, structured programs, and exclusive workouts, things that you won't see on YouTube, things that you won't see anywhere else in my members area on my website. So a lot of people spend a ton of time in their social media. I personally don't. I recognize that I don't spend a ton of time on my social media, and it's because I'm making workouts and programs for my website. I know people who have hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, but have one program. About programs, and I have 300 workouts. So I'm spending my time workouts creating programs, not creating social media. So if you're wondering where that is, it's on my website. Go check it out. We have one of the lowest cancellation rates in fitness and in anything online, in terms of not just the fitness industry, but in terms of membership, in terms of online members areas. We have an extremely low cancellation rate, and that's because it's that damn good. And so yeah. So anyways, that was a long way of saying no. I don't just do yoga. I also do bodyweight exercise. I train as an athlete, and I also do weight training. So there. Someone asked, is it better to do pull-ups before or after a yoga routine? I would say before, just as long as you don't tire yourself out totally. If you're doing it as a warm up, I would definitely do a few pull-ups before you do yoga. It's actually going to help a lot with your shoulder stability. That is what I was talking about at the beginning of this broadcast. But if you do pull-ups before your yoga, you're going to have much better upper back muscle activation. So you're going to have you're going to get a much better workout. You're going to have more stability in your shoulders. You'll put less stress on the fronts of your shoulders, and you'll just get a more balanced workout. So definitely do some pull-ups or some pulling exercises before you do yoga. And if you want to get, if you really want to max out and you want to do as many pull-ups as you can, then I would also do them at the end of the workout as well. So hope that answers your question. Been having a lot of issues with tendonitis. Dylan, can you be a bit more specific about what tendonitis issues you're having? Tendonitis is inflammation of tendons, and that's related to your tendons are connected to muscles. So, muscle health determines the health of your tendons. A lot of people look at tendons as like, well, the issue is the tendon. Like, well, no, the issue is not the tendon. The issue is the muscle that connects to the tendon. So if you're having issues in your shoulders and tendons in your shoulders, then yes, this program is going to help because we're working on the musculature of the shoulders. If you're having, let's say you're having hip issues, you're having knee issues. If you're working on the muscles that connects to the knees and the hips, then you're going to help with those issues. So yes, long story short, I do think this program is going to help, especially if you have tendonitis in your shoulders or elbows. This will help with providing some slack to that system by strengthening and lengthening those muscles. So yes. All right, other questions? Tips for knee ligament tear and meniscus tear. If you tore your ligament in your knees, if you have, if you tore your ACL or if you tore your meniscus, then you're going to need to do a lot of hip strengthening. But you're also you might need to have surgery. For a meniscus tear, if it was like a second, if it was like a second degree strain, if it was, relatively minor, if you can still walk on it, it still might hurt a little bit, but if you can still walk on it, I don't want to give too much advice because I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not an orthopedic. But basically, if you have knee issues, it's going to come down to your hips. So I would recommend working on your hips. But if you still are going through that knee, if you're still going through that ligament tearing issue, then you're still recovering from it, then you don't want to do any weight bearing exercises. So you don't want to do anything where you are standing on your feet and bearing weight. So you want to do stuff where you're on your back, where you're on your chest, and you're doing strengthening for the hip muscles specifically without aggravating the knee. That makes sense. So work on your hips, work on your core. Don't aggravate your knee any further. Every time I do yoga, I get cramps on my hips. I don't know. You could get tightness. You could have cramps there because your muscles are tight. It could be because you're dehydrated. It could be because you haven't stretched enough and the poses. It could be because you haven't stretched enough or you lack mobility. So Tavo, there are a lot of reasons, but it comes down to inflexibility. It could be because you're too inactive before you go to a yoga class. You want to go for a walk beforehand, move more during the day. And it could be related to dehydration, but more likely than not, it's hip tightness and it's related to inactivity. So there. All right. And then I got one time for one more question. Shoulders clicking. Shoulders clicking. I brought up tendonitis issue before. I brought up the tendonitis issue before here, or someone asked about that. And so shoulder clicking is caused by tightness in the tendons. It's caused by tightness in the tendons. Not caused by that. It's caused by tightness in the muscles, and that pulls on the tendons, and that causes the tendons to kind of rub over the bone, and that causes that clicking noise in your shoulders. So it is review broad. This is for you. That is related to shoulder inflexibility. It is related to a lack of upper back strength. Basically, everything this program that I just told you works on, that Bulletproof Your Shoulders works on. You need to work on your pulling strength. You need to work on getting your shoulders down and back. You need to work on opening up the chest. And you need to work on active mobility of your shoulders. So getting your arms overhead without arching your back. You need to be able to bring your hands behind your back. without rounding your shoulders in. So bringing your hands behind your back like this and lifting away. Doing wall slides, squeezing your arms against the back, a wall, and then going up as high as you can. Again, avoiding arching the back. So there's a lot of things that you want to do. My program covers all those things, but essentially you want to work on your upper back strength and your shoulder mobility, and that's going to help with the grinding of the shoulders. The other part of that is sort of stretching to help open up the front of your body. So you might not be able to do a lot of these mobility exercises yet. You might have to start with stretching, with passive stretching exercises. That's the first level. It's passive stretching. And then we go up to more active stretching where we get more muscles involved. And then we go up to body weight. And then we go up to weighted resistance. So there is a progression, right? In order for me to get my hand back as far as possible, I might use my other arm to get it back, or I might put it against the wall to stretch it. And then from there, I want to work on building active mobility. I want to work on exhibiting strength in this area, either with body weight or with light weight. And then eventually I want to work on pushing as much weight as I can, maybe doing a handstand, maybe pushing weight overhead. So again, there's a progression to this. It starts with passive range of motion, works up to weighted resistance. So there. All right, cool, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this was useful. Again, the members area is open for enrollment. Go check it out at manfulyoga.com and learn more. And I hope to see you in the members area, especially, guys, you've been watching this stuff for a while. This is just the very tip of the iceberg. Yes, I post some photos of me working out. I post some helpful tips. I make some videos that go into, by the way, follow me on YouTube if you're not already. That's where the most useful content is. Watching me on video for minutes at a time, where I actually walk you through something and tell you how to do something, is so much more useful than scrolling through your Instagram feed, seeing a photo that says, oh man, that inspires me to work out today. And then, I don't know. I just think that's not very helpful. If you actually want to get something out of this channel, out of this program, out of what I do with Manful Yoga, make sure you're following me on YouTube and seeing the content we put out there. And if you want to take it to the next level from there, make sure to check out my website. That's where I put all of my workouts, my programs, schedules of workouts, so you can actually get results with this stuff. This is what I do. This is not a side job for me. We have a whole team behind this, and we create programs. This is what we do. So make sure to check that out at manfulyoga.com. Help support what we do. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the members area. I hope to see you on those workouts. Again, it's manfulyoga.com. Yeah, if you're watching this and you have questions, send me a message if you'd like, or leave a comment and I'll get back to it later. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Oh, I'm trying to touch